remain behaviorally respectful throughout the course of this year. Stay academically or behaviorally responsible, and you'll be allowed to go on the trip. Fall behind, will become irresponsible, we will probably look at maybe forfeiting their rights. However, it is our goal that all 8th grade students be eligible for this trip, and at this point, today, they are all eligible. So we will be contracting with our students. We recognize that some students will need some extra support and encouragement along those lines, but again, it's our expectation that we will, at the end of the day, have all our students be eligible to participate if they so choose to.
If I can make a quick comment on that.
Yep.
The only thing that I would ask is that there's clear communications with the kids and the parents far enough in advance so they know whether or not they're going to be eligible. And you know, I support trying to make everybody eligible. So kids might have a little bit of a bad streak here and there, whether it's academically, behavioral, and I think if we can work with them, I'd hate to, you know, prevent a kid from going just because of an isolated incident. Now, obviously, you and Mr. Callaghan and Mr. Damiano and others will, you know, have opinions. If there's, you know, if there's kids that just, for whatever reason, I understand that, but I think I really like the idea of working to make everybody eligible for the trip if they want to go.
I assure you, I couldn't agree with you more. That's really what we're really trying to say here is that we are here for kids. We're here to support the kids. We really believe in this, and we will go to whatever it takes to try to keep kids, you know. And so we really would like to be able to be in a position where all kids have the opportunity to choose to participate. So we're going to work hard on that. With regard to financial accessibility, certainly considering the economic climate that we're all in the middle of, we recognize the cost of this trip is, you know, significant, $715. And as we all know as adults, there are ancillary costs that goes along with that. We are going to try to provide all the financial assistance necessary for those families that need it. So to date, the Parents Association is considering offering us 6 full scholarships. Historically, we've offered between 2 and 6 full and part-time, you know, varying combinations. So the PA is committed to offering up to 6 full scholarships or $4,500. Outside of that, we are looking at a variety of corporate sponsorships and those kind of things. But we're also looking at some fundraising activities for the kids, i.e. A grade 8 sponsored dance. It's good for the middle school. Proceeds from the dance can go to support the trip. That we're looking at a roller skating night. Again, fundraising efforts by the part of the students that involve students and things that they can do on their own without going door to door trying to sell something. So those are the kind of fundraising activities that we're exploring right now. But again, without formally announcing, having a parent information night, talking about all details of the trip, and then asking parents to commit, we don't have a real good handle on. My unscientific survey says 246 people needing financial support. Historically, 246 people have needed financial support. But again, in this economic climate, we don't know for sure how many families are actually going to need the help. But we're gearing up to provide whatever assistance we possibly need to make the trip financially accessible for all kids.
John, on that point, I think the survey you sent out was good because it gives you a chance to get that input from people in advance. You know, you said you had 6 or 9. You said they may need some financial aid. I guess the question I would ask is does it make sense to reach out to those 70 families that didn't respond to at least try to get a response from them, and you know, maybe have a little bit of a better idea as to you know, what we might be up against in terms of trying to raise enough funds to get all the kids to.
Absolutely. We did as a team try to talk to as many different factions, if you will, involved in this trip to try to gather as much information. I think the next step for us is to quote unquote formally announce it if it's approved, so that we, you know, it really becomes a commitment at that point, because at this time we would ask for a deposit on account for the trip, and then we would have hard numbers, you know, and then we would reach out to whoever was unable to commit at this time and try to find out exactly what the true story is, and then we would go from there. Clearly, we would reconsider trip. If, when we did that, we found out there was a significant amount of parents and families that were unable to afford to go, we'd have to regroup and revise the trip, try to look at the itinerary, try to look at the whole trip and try to see what's in the best interest of the majority of our kids. But all the indicators that I've received to this point is that it's pretty well supported.
Historically, how many stay behind? I mean, Ms. Callaghan might.
I would say, you know, it started between 25 and 30, and last year it was down to less than a dozen.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the students who may choose not to participate.
Thank you.
Mr. Callaghan's heading up the, I'll be going on the trip, so he's going to head up the part of the trip of any students who are not participating. So.
Members of the school committee, Dr. Trojan, Mr. Nelson, thank you for allowing me my opportunity to support the trip. Obviously, we have to be concerned about students who may not choose to go for whatever reason. Recognizing the celebratory aspects of this event, we want to take all steps necessary for students not participating on the DC trip to feel like they're not left out, that they're part of the group. To this end, we'll be organizing a similar experience closer to home for our grade 8 students who do not choose to go to DC. Their experience will include visits to historical venues in the area and also some fun spots, because DC obviously has lots of important cultural and historical aspects, but there's also quite a few fun parts to it. Their experience will be 5 days, and we estimate the cost to be approximately $150, which would include bus transportation and admission costs. The financial support will be offered for those who may need it. The exact itinerary will be announced as soon as we can determine the number of students participating in those trips for those staying here. It's our intention that all grade 8 students commit to one trip or the other. The academic and behavioral expectations will be the same for each trip. Students will contract with us as soon as the trips are announced. Obviously, another concern is supervision on the trips. We're organizing the adult chaperones to a 10-to-1 ratio. For the DC trip, we're planning to take 10 faculty members and 10 parent chaperones. Parent chaperones will include at least 2 adults who are EMT trained, 1 registered nurse, as well as 1 medical doctor. It is noted that in support of the 10 faculty members going to DC, instruction for any students left behind will be taken over by the teachers not going. So there won't be any substitutes. It won't be costing anything additional. I do have a commitment from 2 parents who are EMT trained, 1 a fireman, 1 a policeman.
We have the doctor on the hook. We haven't quite reeled him in yet. So, you know.
We're working on that.
The point there is that we want a 10-to-1 ratio. We'd really like to involve, 200 students, 10 adult faculty members, because we know the kids. But the parents that are going to come along, we're really trying to select them very, very carefully for special services that they can provide us. So we're looking at at least 1 registered nurse and perhaps a medical doctor, obviously, 2 fireman, policeman has those kind of things in mind. So
the other issue that's been historically of interest to you is the roommate issue. As in the past, students will be asked to submit their first, second, and third choices for roommates. We can almost guarantee that they will be rooming with at least 1 of their 3 choices. It is noted that since the rooms are based on quadruple occupancy, it does present the opportunity for students to bunk with others who they may not know, which of course is also part of the experience, getting to know someone and getting to live with them for a week, maybe make a new friend, which is also part of the experience. How will you communicate to parents all the information regarding the grade 8 trip? We plan on posting a parent information night. Obviously, phone calls back and forth, email, to answer any kind of questions. What I'm really impressed about this year's trip is that we're kind of going to want to include all the kids, because historically, a lot of the kids that have not gone for whatever reason are many students that I've worked very closely with. And those are the kids who really need to go, because they're the ones that need to see that there is a world outside of North Reading, and for whatever reason, they probably would never have that opportunity, at least in the foreseeable future. So I really think it's important I could think back to quite a few students that I've worked with that would have benefited, and right now I'm working with quite a few that I know want to go, and I'm working very hard with them to keep up their grades and keep their behavior going on a good, clean level to make them available. Thank you very much.
Any questions? Any questions from the committee?
I don't support a program where the option for those staying at home isn't free. So the fact that the at-home program and the kids have to choose one or another has a fee-based, I can't support that. If kids are staying home because their parents can't afford it, then who are we to say that 150 is affordable?
Well, obviously, we'd make the same scholarship opportunities. If their parents can't afford it, then obviously, historically, no one's ever been denied to go on any part of the trip
Yeah.
without, for money reasons.
I understand, but there are parents that are reluctant to come forward and to ask for assistance. So I would support this program if the school department picks up whatever cost is associated with events for those students that stay at home.
I think it's a very valid point, and I think that we're trying to be as sensitive as possible. Our main goal for recognizing that kind of like DC at the end of the year is a culminating celebratory. What we really are looking for is to make sure that nobody in grade 8 feels left out. Just because they can't afford to go, they choose not to go, their interest is not to go away from home, for whatever it is, we really would like to at least posture ourselves to accept their right not to go into DC and to maybe do something different other than I have to stay back at school and I'm going to get a whole, some work to do. So we're looking to try to mirror image, albeit closer to home, of some sort of a celebration for those students. The estimate of $150 is based on something that I had done in the past, and so I was looking at that, but we would absolutely look at trying to offset as much of the cost of the DC trip, doing fundraising, as well as the other one. So we would try to do that, being very, very sensitive to the financial needs of it. So that we just wanted to get a figure out there to kind of, because there is transportation costs, there is museum costs, admission to whatever events that they choose to go to. So those things need to be taken into consideration. But clearly, I hear you. We're very sensitive to that.
I understand and I appreciate the efforts. And it sounds like there's a substantial program for those that are left behind. But public education has to have a free option. And I believe the school department needs to pick up the cost of the bus for any programs that call for busing students during those 5 days. And they also need to pick up any museum passes. I mean, certainly it's Boston, and there are plenty of things you can do that don't cost any money on a few of those afternoons, but not all of them. But I think that's where the school department needs to step up and say, if the kids aren't going, we will have a free and substantial program for those kids that stay behind. And it's where I'm drawing the line.
I appreciate what Ms. Bach is saying, but she's certainly not speaking for everybody on the committee, because I agree with the program that you have, and my position is there is an option they can come to school. I'm sure that there's an opportunity to come to school if they can't go on either trip. I'm glad you've set up this alternative type of trip that, as you suggest, mirrors the trip to Washington for a lot less money, and I'm sure with this much advance notice that between fundraising and even the kids perhaps finding a way to come up with the money, they could or should be able to afford it. And if not, then the option is, there's going to be some that choose not to do either, I would suppose, right? I mean, do they have to go on the secondary trip?
No.
So they, the
But
opportunity
Mr.
to come to school.
Callaghan said the children will be asked to choose one or the other.
Yeah, that's true. We did say that. Again, we're trying to set up options, and
I think he also said there'd be
perhaps the wording in our
substitutes.
presentation is not exactly,
He
but
said there would be no substitutes.
No, I mean, there'd be teachers here, though, available for
Right.
students that are
Right.
unable to go on the trip, they can
Absolutely,
come to
yeah,
school.
yeah.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
you've got all of the 8th grade teachers
No,
booked
but
between one or the
we're
other.
going to bring 10 faculty members, faculty staff members. The chaperone organizational framework that we are proposing is going to consist of 10 faculty and staff members to mirror image 10 adult chaperones, so that we have a 20-to-1, or excuse me, a 10-to-1 chaperone ratio on the DC trip. That's if all 200 kids go. Now, if only 150 kids go to